All right, we are on the final section of the chapter 9 called the cross product. It is another form of multiplication with vectors. It only works for your vectors in space, meaning the 3D vectors with letters I, J, and K. So this is basically what I just said. For vectors in space and only for vectors in space, the second product of two vectors is defined, called the cross product. It is a super scary formula. We're going to do it a different way other than that. But the key here is that it's symbolized by V times W, that big X. That means cross product. Think about a cross right here. And we can only use it for vectors like something like this, 2i plus 3j minus k. All right. So this is a very complicated formula, so we're going to use it another way called determinants. Determinants are symbolized by these longer lines. They're called absolute value symbols. They're not absolute value. They're called matrices, which you'll get into more detail in calculus. And the idea is we can go ahead and multiply A1, B2, so diagonally multiply, minus A2, B1, and that would get you your cross product. So, and in most of these examples, we're going to be dealing with 3 by 3 determinants, because if you think about it, a vector, now that we're dealing with space, has 3 variables, I, J, and K. Okay? So this super scary formula works like this. The idea is I'll have 3 letters on top, and then the rest, A1, B1, C1, A2, B2, C2, are all numbers. You'll see in the next slide what I mean. The formula goes, I ignore column A, and I set up B1, B2, C1, C2 times A. And then you would find the cross product in that first part. Minus in between, I'm going to ignore column B, A1, A2, C1, C2, times column B, the thing I just ignored. So I'm here. Plus in between. So it goes minus, then plus. I'm going to ignore column C and only focus on A1, A2, B1, B2, just like I did there, and then times it by C. So I'm going to bring this block over to the next slide. So let's say we're going to find the determinant of the following, and actually let me show you what I originally had for my PowerPoint. Here's what it originally looked like. Find the determinant of the following. Okay, so the idea is if we start with a 2 by 2, you simply multiply like this, 2 times 2 minus 3 times 1. Just always start with the top left times the bottom right. Minus top right times the bottom left. 4 minus 3 is 1. That's my cross product. That's my answer. Check out how B is set up. I'm going to show you with the PowerPoint and then with using that little box to move things around. So this is the scary formula. So I'm going to start by looking at ignoring column I and setting up as 3, 2, 5, 3 times I, because I just ignored column I. I'll show this 2 times, okay? Minus in between. Then we ignore column J, so ignoring it, and use the guys in column I and K, so 2, 1, 5, 3 times J. Then plus in between. Lastly, I'm going to ignore column K and focus on I and J. So 2, 1, 3, 2 timesing by K. Then I'm going to do the cross product of each, or the determinant of each is actually what it is. So 3 times 3 minus 5 times 2. So 3 times 3 is 9 minus 5 times 2 is 10 times I on the outside. That's what happens with the I. Then minus in between. 2 times 3, which is 6, minus 5 times 1, which is 5. J on the outside. Plus 2 times 2, minus 3 times 1. So 4 minus 3 times K. And your final answer is going to have I, J, and K. 9 minus 10 is negative I, or negative 1I. Minus 6 minus 5 is 1J. Plus 4 minus 3 is 1K. Final answer. Let me show that one more time using that little box that I used on the previous. So looking over here, I'm going to, with my little box, setting it up. Oops, that's an update. Setting it up, I'm going to look at ignoring column I and only focusing on these guys right here. 3, 2, 5, 3, just like I did. 3, 2, 5, 3 times I. Minus, ignore column J and focus on the numbers on the outside. 2, 1, 5, 3 times J, that's what's ignored. That's what's over here. Plus, ignoring the last column K, 2, 1, 3, 2 times K. We find the cross product. That's how it goes. All right. Now we're going to set one up ourselves and solve it. Here's the way your homework's set up, like this last example. It says, let's find the cross product of V times W. We know it's a cross product with this. Now keep in mind, if this is not the same thing as the dot product. So if you see V dot W, this is not the same thing as V cross W. They're not the same thing. So not V times W. Not V dot W. That's the dot product versus the cross product. That's the key. That's your cross product. So the way to set it up, bear with me, I always start with IJK on top, always. And V is what's on top. And so the coefficients for V are what's on top, and the coefficients for W is what's on bottom. You'll see how part B is different. So 2 was in front of I, 3 was in front of J, 5 was in front of K, all on top. 1 is in front of I, 2 is in front of J, 3 is in front of K, all on top. Back to, let me see. All right, so now I go ahead and set up my determinant stuff. I ignore column I, and set it up as 3, 3, 5, 2 times I, because I'm ignoring column I. I'm ignoring this. Minus, now we ignore column J and set it up as 2, 1, 5, 3 times J. Plus, ignoring column K, we set it up as 2, 3, 1, 2 times K. Then we go ahead and do the cross product. So 3 times 3, which is 9, minus 5 times 2, which is 10. So 9 minus 10, I. 2 times 3 is 6, that's sloppy, minus 1 times 5, which is 5, times J, plus 2 times 2 is 4, minus 3 times 1 is 3, times K. Negative I, minus 1J, plus K. Final answer. Now it's the other way around. Cross product of W first, then V. So your answer, you're going to see what happens with your answer. But the only difference here is, so first off, IJK is still on top. The only difference is W's vector is now on top, and then V is below. So these are all the coefficients from W on top, and then V's coefficients on bottom. So 1's in front of I, then 2's in front of J, 3's in front of K. So that's what's on top, 1, 2, 3. And then for your V, it's 2, 3, 5. Again, set it up. We ignore column A and set it up with 2, 3, 3, 5 times I. Minus from the formula, ignoring column J, 1, 2, 3, 5 times J. Plus from the formula, ignore column K, 1, 2, 2, 3 times K. Then we do your determinant rule, 2 times 5 minus 3 times 3, so that's 10 minus 9 times I, minus 1 times 5, minus 3 times 2, 5 minus 6 is J, and then 1 times 3 minus 2 times 2, so 3 minus 4 times K. 1I minus negative 1, so plus J minus K. Watch what happens in C and D, the cross product of itself. So that just means setting it up, I take all the coefficients of V twice. That's what V cross V. So this is V's coefficients, this is also V's coefficients. Following the rule, I ignore column A, and I have 3, 3, 5, 5 times I, minus, ignore J, 2, 2. Oops, an error. This should say 5, 5 times j, plus, ignore column k, 2, 2, 3, 3 times k. I'll fix the 5 on the PowerPoint I upload. Okay, so we go cross product. You'll see 15 minus 15 minus, this is wrong, it should say 10 minus 10, j, plus 6 minus 6k. You're going to see it's all 0. And guess what? The cross product of anything of itself, d is going to be that same thing. It's also going to be 0 anytime you do it of itself. So these are the coefficients for your w's. Set it up, ignore I, then do 2, 2, 3, 3 times I, minus, ignore j, 1, 1, 3, 3 times k, times j, plus 1, 1, 2, 2 times k. You'll see again, you will get 0 as your answer. All right, so that is it. I have your homework up here. I do have the setup here. It's going to help you with, for number 19, because it's going to help you with number 19 in particular, and 19 to 22, I mean. So it tells you v equals 2i minus j plus 2k, while w equals j minus k. Keep in mind, to set up your cross product, you need every single variable. So what that means is we are missing I for w. So we think of it as 0i plus j minus k. So your setup would be, so again, I, j, k always on top. Then your v is 2, -1, 2. That's where I got 2, -1, 2. While your w is 0, the invisible 1, the invisible -1. And then continue from there. Thank you for listening. As always, let me know if there's questions.